Hello and welcome to Hot at Home, your questions answered. I'm Jackie and today's question is from one of my fabulous customers, Kelly. Kelly asks, I would like to know how to perfect my running form to eliminate or minimize shin splints. I also want to know what is the best breathing not to exert too much energy so I can finish a run still feeling refreshed and not exhausted. Great question. You're a fellow runner. That's awesome. Yeah, I got some tips for you for sure. Shin splints, buy the right pair of running shoes. End of story. Might seem too simple a solution, but when I first started running, I was getting shin splints a lot, and I was actually running in cross trainers because I believe one pair of shoes to be enough for all of the things that I was doing. I wanted something good for walking, something good for running, something good for tennis, something good for whatever, aerobics, whatever it was I was doing back when I was a cardio bunny. Anyway, so yeah, I was just in cross trainers that weren't specially fitted for me or anything like that. But then I was getting shin splints all the time, and they're really painful. So I actually wound up going to the running store near where I live and having them sort of assess my feet. And turns out I pronate a little bit, which means my arches are a little bit flat, so my feet kind of land like this a little bit instead of straight like they should. Not pigeon-toed, but just like bent in a little bit. So it was affecting my shins, and so I got into a proper pair of proper running shoes, strictly for going forward, not side to side like tennis and aerobics might lead you to need shoes for, but just for going straight forward and with a little bit of support in my arch so that I didn't pronate as I land as my feet would land, and I never got them again, ever. And I've been running in those same shoes now for maybe a long time anyway. Like, once they fitted me, I've just always bought that shoe. And they upgrade the model, but it's always the same fit. So I just always buy that shoe now. I've never had them again. So really get good shoes. You can't cheap out on running shoes. You have to get good shoes, especially if you're getting shin splints and things like that. For breathing, yeah, I found that it is really easy to lose your breathing, get a little bit winded, and feel exhausted at the end if you've been fighting your breathing the whole way. So you need to regulate your breathing. So I found that regulating my breathing based on my footfalls was the best way to do it. So when I first started running, I was breathing in for 2 footfalls and breathing out for 2 footfalls. So by that I mean when your foot lands, you step, breathe in, breathe out, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe out. So you would, I would even like match my footfall, so I'd be like as I was running to match as my feet were falling on the pavement. So it worked really well because if I picked my pace up and I was running faster, then my footfalls would happen faster, and it would naturally lead me to need to breathe faster because I'm working harder. So it would naturally match up even if I started to increase my pace or decrease my pace. I didn't need quite as much oxygen. If I decreased my pace and I wasn't working as hard, then just sticking with my footfalls really worked well for me. As you get more sort of advanced or used to that technique of breathing, you can increase it to like 3 footfalls. That's about where I am right now, although I tend to do it naturally now. I don't tend to be like concentrating on it as hard as I used to have to. The one thing I would say that you shouldn't do though is breathe in 1 footfall and breathe out 1 footfall, because I think you'll hyperventilate. I think that's breathing too fast. So you're trying to regulate your breathing. You're trying not to like get into a position where you would start to hyperventilate. Now that being said, or you can also alternate too. If you need more time to breathe out or more air to breathe in than pushing your air out, then you can go in for 3 and out for 2, or in for 2 and out for 3, or something like that. Whatever works the best for you, but just matching things up with your footfalls is a really great way to just regulate in general. But as I was just about to say, don't use 1 footfall because I think you'll start to hyperventilate. But on that note, if you're doing interval training, high intensity interval training, where you're pulling out a maximal, let's just say for instance 30 seconds, and then recovering for 30 seconds, yeah, you might not breathe as heavily while you're running because you're working, but as soon as you stop running and get into recovery mode, you'll probably be huffing and puffing like mad, at least if you're anything like me. Yeah, I think you'll be working hard while you run, but I think you'll most notice it once you stop, because you'll be just like, whoa, I'm winded. And that's when you're in your recovery interval, that's when you really need to concentrate really hard on your breathing to slow it down and bring it down and get your heart rate is back to as close to normal as possible. It won't land back at normal, but get it slowed down so that when your recovery interval is over, you have the energy again to pull out another maximal effort for your next interval. So if you're doing 30-30s, so 30 seconds of running like mad and then 30 seconds of recovery, then you've got 30 seconds to get your breathing back down to calm, so that when that 30 seconds ends, you can just like go for it again and run like mad again. And then again, of course, the next 30 seconds, you'll be like huffing and puffing and concentrating really, really hard. So that footfalls thing doesn't apply in any way, shape, or form. I don't really have a tip for that one. For me, I just breathe how I need to breathe, because in the middle of the interval, because I'm working so hard and I'm concentrating on making my legs go as fast as possible, I'm actually not even concentrating on my breathing. But when I do get to my recovery interval, that's all I'm concentrating on. I've got nothing else to think about except getting my breathing back to normal, my heart rate down. So that's the place where you need to concentrate on your breathing more than when you're actually doing the work. So, but that's really just for if you're doing high intensity interval training or interval training of any kind, really. But for straight regular running, I do find the footfalls thing to be the best way to regulate, keep your energy level even, so you can go a long way and get to the end without being like huffing and puffing and going crazy. But on that note as well, for me at the end of my run, I have a certain part of the path where I know I'm almost at the end, and I sprint. It's like, okay, this is my last 50 yards. I'm just going to give her until I get to the end. So by the end, I am like wheezing and huffing and puffing and like whoo-wee. But I did that on purpose because I sprinted for the last 50 yards instead of just running in at my regular pace. So, and that's a nice way to like sort of just cap off the run too. Is just to like exhaust myself and just pull out as many calories as I can in the last 50 yards. But if you just want to end a run at the same pace and end feeling sort of refreshed, then don't do that. Just continue to breathe with your footfalls until you hit your finish line, and you should feel a lot different than you are feeling now. Let's see. Yeah, the other thing too is right now for me, I don't really do that technique anymore, just because I think it comes naturally to me. I don't think about my breathing when I'm running anymore. I've been running long enough now. But there does come a time where I can lose my breathing. I'll be like, whoa, what's going on? My breathing feels like it's a little bit out of control here. I will revert back to the footfalls thing. So it's a really, really strong technique that I firmly think will really, really help you out. So anyway, that's I think all I have for you today. And I hope that really helped you out. And we'll see you guys again next time. Take care.